I think you're on something. I think Anthony coming in, he had a brilliant season with Ajax, and he's been looking brilliant under Ten Hag. I think he's what you need on that right, because even with Sancho coming in last season to play on the right and then extenuating circumstances leading to him on the left, I don't think he's the right winger that you need it in a way. I think Sancho on the left gives you something else in terms of cutting in and his playmaking ability. So Anthony gives you much needed pace out wide and creativity. Rashford's a weird one. I don't know why Rashford was played on the right last year. I don't know why Rashford was so bad last year. I don't know if it's his injury, like coming back from that and not having enough rehab or whatever, or if it was still hangover from the Euros. But I don't think Rashford at United is going to work out anymore. I just think there's too much pressure on his shoulders. He broke in so early, and since he's been there, even while Ronaldo's been here and he's had Pogba here and Fernandes, everyone's went, come on, Marcus, we need you to step up now. This is it now. The pressure's been on him so intense for 6 years. I think he needs to get out of there to refine himself, refine how he plays football, because last year it was a man who just looked lost on a football pitch. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know where he was. It was actually quite sad, because when Marcus Rashford's on it, he's such an exciting player to watch. But I do think his time at United is up. And if you can get good money for him and Ten Hag can reinvest into a different type of winger, go for it.
Tom, I told you, Rashford was never that good. And I told Terry this years ago during our very humble beginnings and so forth. And obviously Terry tried to punch me in the face and everything when I said this, because he loves Rashford. And I tried to explain to Terrence that Rashford, he's not as good as you think he is. And I think that for United, it's very much a sentimental thing of he's come through the academy and so forth, and they are looking at him through these kind of rose-tinted glasses, because they almost just want him to be this amazing player because he came from the academy. If Rashford did not come from United's academy, United fans wouldn't have this kind of romanticized view about him. Rashford simply ain't it. He simply ain't it, and he simply isn't this amazing, superb talent that United fans think he is. The only people that truly rate Rashford like this are United fans. Anybody outside of United just views Rashford, he's good. Like, he has ability and so forth. He's not that good. He isn't like generational. He isn't this superb, amazing talent. So I just think for Rashford, bro, cut your losses, bro. It didn't happen with the dude.
How about making him sound like Loftus Cheek, bro?
I mean, look, I think the generational thing fair enough. But at the same time, we've seen players like Sebastian Haller. You've seen players like Tadic, Ziyech, who aren't generational talents, who aren't the most supreme football players in the world, turn into high-level creators or goal scorers in proper systems. In teams that are coached properly. I kind of look at Marcus Rashford and I think where someone like him really started to struggle is that there was a system that Man United played and there was coaching, but it wasn't of the level of someone like a Ten Hag. It wasn't of the level of a Tuchel, the level of a Pep or a Jurgen Klopp. And I think over a period of time that starts to show. It's what's going to be the difference next year in the top six with 5 elite level managers versus one. I don't mean it rudely to Mikel Arteta. Let's just leave Ten Hag out of it for a minute. I think he's there. They can't make the top 4 next year, Arsenal, in my opinion, just because of the managers of the 4 clubs have got. Those managers are so good. Their systems are so good. They're going to generate performances and consistency from players that lesser managers can't do. And if managers weren't that important, then why do we big them up? Why do we rave about them so much? Like, managers are very important. So I think Rashford has the ability to be a performer for Man United, a match winner for Man United. He was doing it under managers that were struggling when we were saying there was no system, when we were saying there was no tactics, when we were saying there was no training. The same very fans who will kick off and go, Pogba and Martial and Donny van de Beek have been ruined by this club for a lack of training and a lack of structure. Cool, I'll agree with you. Rashford's not as technically gifted as them. Surely the less technically gifted football players will be damaged more by a badly run club than the more gifted players. I think it's premature to write Marcus Rashford off, even if he just goes back to being what a lot of people called him, just a goal scorer. He gets back to scoring 20 plus goals a season. He's an asset and a valuable asset for Manchester United.
You know, I think
How
Rashford
old-
needs
how
though.
old is
I think he misses because he's coming. He came in under Louis van Gaal, plays as a striker. Then he was under Mourinho, and he couldn't find his position there. He thought he was a left winger. Mourinho was playing him here, there, and everywhere. Then under Solskjaer started playing him on the right at times, then on the left, and up in the middle when there was injury problems. And then under Rangnick, he couldn't really get into the team. But when he was on the right, which he doesn't really like. He just needs a bit of consistency. He just needs a manager to sit him down and go, I'm playing you here. This is your job. I'm not going to try and change that. I'm not going to take you out of your position or try and make you something you're not. I think he needs to realise that he's a left winger, first and foremost. And then he needs a manager that trusts him to just exclusively play off the left wing, because I think Mourinho was doing punditry for one of the games he was at Sky Sports for, and he said, Marcus Rashford is a brilliant left winger, but he doesn't want to play left wing. It's like what we've got with Oxlade-Chamberlain at the minute. Oxlade-Chamberlain's a great right side of the attacker, but he wants to play somewhere else. When he realises that his strengths and his abilities are on the left wing, he'll refine himself. And that's why I think he needs to go, because I think Sancho's better on the left, and I think Sancho's better than him. So, and Rashford needs to play consistently on the left to find himself, even if it's just a loan, like you've done with Jesse Lingard to West Ham, so he can find himself again. That's what needs to happen to Rashford.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I think everyone's got a different view on him, and a lot of people have written him off, and he's done, and he's finished, and maybe he is. But if he comes back to scoring and back to form for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then has another bad patch, people will just go, "I told you, Terry, 4 years ago. I told you he was bad." It's one of those things. Rashford is never going to shake this tag. Harry Kane still gets called overrated and average. Wayne Rooney still gets called overrated by people after what he's done and what he's won. So Rashford's never shaking that tag, but I still think he can be an asset for Manchester United. No doubt about it. Some super chats here says that's utter BS, Terry. United won't make top 4. I don't know if you were listening, Sleep. Maybe you were asleep. I exclude Ten Hag and Man United. Arsenal still won't make top 4 because the remaining managers are better than Arteta. So Conte, Tuchel, Klopp, Pep. I literally took Man United out of the equation, my friend. So sorry that you weren't listening. Terry, the African shamans do their magic with literal other human body parts. They do this. They tried to hex. United will never break free from their hex. It's a witch thing.
Why have we got an African hex? That's on Pep. That's on Pep. Nothing to do with us.
Yeah, Yaya Toure, man. The Yaya Toure hex the lives.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
No. They tried to do it to Pep, but they didn't realize there were 2 clubs in Manchester, so they did it on Man United. That's what it was. They only think there's one. They don't even know City exists.
No, man, that kills me every year when someone just pulls up that screenshot of that news story. It kills me every year. Oh, mate.
It does. It is funny. I always love Robinho's first interview where he basically was like, I didn't know there was 2 teams in Manchester. That's so funny.